guys, Katie Azevedo from SchoolHabits.com. This video is more for parents. I usually make videos for students themselves, but this one is more for parents of younger children in the elementary age who are struggling with how to support your child with the new e-learning shift that is going on nationwide, worldwide right now. I already put out a video on e-learning strategies for high school and beyond, or middle school and beyond, I'd say. But this is for parents if you are struggling with how to get your child or how to best support your child as they are navigating this new digital learning experience. I'm going to start by saying that, I'm a mom. I have a first and a third grader, so I'm in this from so many different levels. I'm also a teacher, a master's in special education. I'm an private executive function coach, and I have kids of my own. So I have a lot of different perspectives on this and a lot of different angles, and a lot of experience for sure. So I see this personally as an opportunity for two types of education right now. Of course, there's the academic piece. There's the things that your child's teacher might be sending home or emailing, using through Google Classroom, whatever platform that they're set up on. But there's also the learning in the broader sense. Through e-learning, a younger child is going to have the perfect opportunity to be learning executive function skills, to be learning self-advocacy, to be learning like the how to do school piece, the school habit piece. What a great name for a business. But this is like the perfect opportunity for your child to learn those lessons at a young age that are going to be so valuable once they reach the upper grades. Okay, with that said, some tips to help you get started. Number one, to ask your child what they are learning. Remember, your child, if they're in K through 5, is probably used to partner learning, group work. There's not a lot of individual learning in the younger grades unless there's an assessment. So when a child is at home for this e-learning experience, things are much different for them. They're having to sit alone without their friends to talk things through, without partner work, and that is new to them, and that is difficult. Children learn by talking about the material, by listening to their peers explain it, and they don't have that opportunity with virtual learning. So let's say they are set up on Spelling City, and they need to do 15 minutes of Spelling City. When they're done with that, that's independent work, but if it's possible for you to ask your child, okay, tell me 3 vocab words you just learned, or tell me something you just read in that article, or what was that lesson about? Engage them in a conversation about it, because that's the type of learning that they're used to and that also is most beneficial to them. Number 2, you want to make their workspace engaging and inspiring. If possible, set up their study space differently from their gaming space or their more leisure computer work space. That's not always possible, I get it, but you want to do what you can to environmentally mark the shift between work and play. If that's not possible and your child only has one location to work, then change something about that location when they shift from work to play. Move the clock, move something on the desk from left to right. So, okay, Billy Joe, if, the pencil container is to the left, we're working. If it's on the right side of the desk, it's play. Perhaps you set up during their learning time, you have notebooks and papers and pencils supplied on the desk, and when they're done, and it's okay for them to shift to the more, I don't know, what do kids do with the computers? Games, videos, right? Then remove that stuff from the desk so that visually they have a cue of when it's time to learn and when it's time to play. Number 3, you want to give your kids breaks, and these breaks should not involve anything to do with the screen. If possible, physical breaks. Even though there's videos that can engage like kids in wiggles or yoga poses, I do not suggest using anything with a screen when your child is in between their work tasks. If they finished what they were supposed to do, shut the computer off and have them leave the room, go outside, read a book, squish Play-Doh, There's so many things that they could be doing during their break that don't involve a screen. Number 4, and this is a tip that also applies to the older students that I went over in another video, which is you want to print out as much as you possibly can for your child. Some things that their teachers are going to assign are going to be readings. Some of those will be easily printed, just Control P, things will print out lovely. Sometimes it's going to print out all weird formatting. You can copy and paste almost anything online into a Google Doc. Maybe you might need to doctor up the formatting a little bit, make the font bigger, child friendly, and then print out the Google Doc and have your child read it from there. Again, the nature of digital learning is that everything is on the computer screen. And that is really difficult for a child who's used to being in a classroom with a lot of kinesthetic learning. So do what you can to print things out, let your child move somewhere else to do their reading, but you want to mix it up, get them off the screen as much as possible. Tip number 5, kids in grades K through 5 are probably not getting a ton of assignments, so many that they need to keep track of them all, but now is a perfect opportunity to encourage your child to use a checklist and to understand how checklists work. Sticky note system of each day, getting in the habit of logging into the classroom or learning platform or their email, and writing down the things that their teacher has assigned to them. Even if there's one thing, have your child write that down, little checkbox so they can check it off when they're done. But these are the fundamental skills that are going to be so helpful when they get into middle school and high school. And don't let your child win this one. If they're like, Mom, there's only one thing, I don't need to memorize, I don't need to write it down, I can remember it. That's still not the point. The point is to teach the lesson. Remember, like the how to do school piece, and this is just a perfect opportunity. And then they can feel a sense of accomplishment too. Like, who doesn't like to write something down and check it off when it's done? Next up, I would write down all their usernames and passwords on a piece of paper and post them next to the computer. A lot of times students are having to log into, like, I don't know, Raz Kids, iExcel, Spelling City, whatever the things that they're doing. There's a bazillion of them, and each one comes with its own username and password. And oftentimes our browsers save that information, and a child doesn't need to log in and remember those credentials. But let's say they use another browser, or your computer restarts, or another parent is home and doesn't know the passwords. Have them written down in a place where your child can take some initiative to say, oh, I need to know my password for this. It's on the piece of paper. That's also going to reduce the amount of times your child comes running to you. I can't log into my whatever, right? This is a tip for parents too. But again, it's also a good executive function skill to be able to keep track of important information. Sticky note next to the computer, it's all you need. Number 7, I would involve your child as much as possible in choosing what assignments that they want to do and when they want to do them. Yeah, they all have to get done. They don't get to choose that, right? But let's say there's a math thing and a reading thing. Instead of saying, okay, you're gonna do the math now and the reading thing after, sometimes kids are gonna resist. We know this as parents. Our kids are gonna resist just because we're telling them to do it. So this is just like that parenting 101 thing is like, do you want to walk to the car or ride to the car or hop on your left foot or your right foot, right? It's all mind games, but they feel like they have a say in what they're doing. So let them pick. And that way they have a sense of ownership over their schedule, and that sometimes is all the motivation they need to do it. And number 8, your child will have questions and you will have questions. And again, the nature of e-learning is that the teachers are there. We are there via email. And so now would be an awesome opportunity to teach your child how to write an appropriate email to a teacher. I have to teach this to my high school students. If you go to SchoolHabits.com, it's my blog, I have a whole resource and templates for how to write an appropriate email to a teacher. The thing that I always remind students is an email is not a text message and the language is different. So now would be a great time to, teach your child the etiquette of an email and to email questions. That's also self-advocacy. I don't know something. How can I be resourceful and find the answer? Not just, I don't know what it is, right? Oh my God, I hear that all the day long from my own kids. you don't want to be emailing your teacher 15,000 times a day. If your child has a lot of questions as they're learning, they can write them down on a piece of paper. And then at the end of the day, or at lunchtime, or whenever they take a break, or maybe at the end of the week or midweek, at one point in time, batch those questions together and send them to the teacher in one email instead of one question per email. Because that can, from a teacher's perspective, that can be a lot. So remember, this experience, this e-learning digital virtual classroom experience is new to your child just as it's new to us as parents, and there's a learning curve for everybody. Do what you can, support your child, let them voice their frustrations, and my final advice is to take this as an opportunity to teach those other supplemental school skills in addition to the content, because you are not a content teacher. You don't expect yourself to do that. If you want more resources, then SchoolHabits.com. I have so many things there that could help either you or your child. And then the YouTube channel, which if you're seeing this video, you're most likely on that. And hopefully it's helpful. Please subscribe, that would be awesome. And you got this.